Have you ever dreamed of stepping away from work for a while? I'm not talking about just a vacation. I'm talking about a real, meaningful break. Maybe you want to travel, learn something new, or just slow down. Today, we'll explore how you can do that without worry, stress, or anxiety so that you can return refreshed and rejuvenated. Hello and welcome. My name is Danette Lowe, and I'm a certified financial planning professional. My goal is simple: help you prepare for retirement and have a lot of fun in the process. I've recently published a book called The Early Start Retirement Plan. This episode, it comes from one of the chapters called Taking a Mini Retirement. The book is now available on Audible in case you want to listen to it instead of read. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer, member, FINRA, SIPC. Advisory services offered through Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a registered investment advisor. True North Wealth and Cambridge are not affiliated. Today, we're exploring the idea of taking meaningful time off work, not just a 1 week vacation or a 2 week vacation, but meaningful time away where you can decompress, learn a new hobby or skill, travel internationally, or simply to slow down. Let's start talking about Mike and Lisa. Mike is 52 and works as a project manager. Lisa is 49 and she is a creative. She is a journalist and she is able to work from home a little bit easier than Mike is. They have reached the point in their career where Mike is overwhelmed most of the time. He is very stressed out. And Lisa is also feeling stuck creatively. And they want to start the process of exploring how to take a meaningful break. And even though they've talked about taking some time off, it always ended up with, yeah, maybe someday. Mike came home from work the other day and he said, we need to do it this year. And we need to take 3 months off and move to Spain. And Lisa was like, what are you talking about? This is crazy. We can't possibly do it. So let's talk about how they can get this accomplished. They sat down and began crunching numbers, and they eventually decided that everything would work out financially. He took a 3 month sabbatical or mini retirement from his work, and she was able to go with and continue to do her writing overseas. So her income continued to come in, and they lived on a combination of savings and her income. And this was something that they thought was a dream that wasn't possible until they actually sat down and started to do the math. When Mike returned from the trip, he came back rejuvenated, refreshed, reinvigorated, and he went back into the same job and quickly received a promotion because he was so engaged and he was so rebooted. Lisa's writing also flourished because she was filled with new ideas, new experiences. They learned something really powerful. Taking this trip and taking this time off didn't set them back. It set them up for a better future. In my book, The Early Start Retirement Plan, we call these getaways mini retirements. You might also have heard the term sabbaticals or gap year, essentially taking an extended time away from work prior to retirement. Unless your company mandates them, and some do, you probably haven't even really considered being able to take meaningful time away from work before retirement. This is particularly important if you are an entrepreneur or sole proprietor running your own business, you might never see light at the end of the tunnel in terms of taking extended time off. I think one of the biggest fears that people have about taking an extended time away from work is that they will lose momentum. They feel like it will be a setback. Imagine coming back to work with a clear head, new ideas, a deep sense of excitement for what's next. That's the real benefit. You might be afraid that you can't afford it. And certainly, taking some unpaid time off work is going to require some financial resources. If you're still living paycheck to paycheck, and a lot of people are, this might be something you want to plan in the future. But if you have reached the point where you have built up some savings, you have your home, you have a stable career, but you're not quite yet thinking about retiring, this is the perfect time. If this sounds like something that you might want to do and this is the first time you've ever thought of it, then you might just want to start simply by saying, I'm going to dedicate a certain amount of money each month to this fund and set a target date of 5 years from now. If you already have money saved, then maybe it's next year or the year after. And you start to plan from a perspective of not can I or not should I, but how can I? One of the things that Mike and Lisa did in our example is they rented out their house. So they had positive income coming in from the house. Lisa was able to maintain her income. And so they really didn't have to dip into saving. One of the other fears that people face is, what about my career? What's going to happen to my career? And I think it's important that you still stay engaged while you're traveling. Stay engaged with your industry news, industry updates, and your relationship, your friends, your coworkers. Keep those relationships going while you're away. Many people find that they're in a better position career-wise after they return. The third fear that people face is wondering what other people think. What will other people think about you taking the time off? Will people be jealous and try to stop you from doing it or embrace it and encourage you? But sometimes we reach a point in our career where we have the capacity to do something like this. We have the financial resources to take some meaningful time off. And it's okay for other people not to approve. And this is not to avoid work, it's to make you better at your career, your job, your life, and to help make you a better person. Okay, so let's talk about how we can plan for a mini retirement without adding stress into our lives. I think there's 4 steps. The first thing that you want to consider is to set a goal. What is the purpose of taking the time off? Do you simply want to take a break? Do you want to learn a new hobby or skill, learn a new language? What is the goal of taking the time off? And if it is just, I need 6 weeks to do nothing, that's okay. It doesn't have to be, write an epic novel. It could be getting started on writing a novel. You could say, I'm going to take 8 weeks off and I'm going to sit at home and write the way I've always wanted to write and not spend any extra money, right? Step number 2 is to decide on length and timing. How long are you going to take off when you decide to do it? Are you going to take 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, a year? And when is this going to happen? Is it going to happen 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Step number 3 is financial planning and budgeting. Once you have a good idea in your mind why you're doing it and when you're doing it and how long, Then you'll be able to sit down with your financial advisor and put down pencil to paper and figure out some of the numbers. How much would it cost? How much do you need to save, if any? One of the easy ways to do it is to set up a separate account, fund it with what you have already saved, and if you need to add to it, set up an automatic monthly deposit so that the funds automatically go in each month. You'll look back when the time comes and you'll just be ready to go and make your plans because you'll see that savings account growing over time. Step number 4 is planning for reintegration. Before you leave, I want you to have a plan for how you'll return. What are you going to do when you come back? Are you hoping to come back into the same position? Or are you hoping to do something new, into something maybe more aligned with what you want to do for the rest of your life? Maybe you're in a job that isn't really 100% satisfying right now. Maybe you take this time off to really think about what you're going to do. If you've ever dreamed of taking a break, but fear has held you back, I encourage you to start planning now. What's one experience that you've always wanted but never made time for? And what's one small step I can take today to move towards it? I hope you enjoyed this episode on taking a mini retirement. Hope it gave you some ideas for possibly doing it yourself. I'm wishing you health and abundance and a wonderful life. And take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.